Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. Order today at PureSoapFlakes.com, greenhome.com, Amazon.com, or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here with Joe Sixpack. His real name is Todd Bauman. I think that's a top secret we just uncovered. Todd Bauman. Okay. And his buddies, Kevin Kenny, they co-wrote a book called Socialism Sucks, Your Money from Your Pocket. You can find them on Facebook, Real Joe Sixpack, and at Real Joe Sixpack on Twitter. Joe, we're out of time, man. Unless you want to give me another half hour. You want to go for another half hour?
Yeah, we can do that.
Are you sure? I don't want to put pressure on you.
No, we can do that.
Okay. Then, let's see. What was I going to ask you? Oh, okay. Let me hit you with this, okay? And see if we can agree on this. Now, you have the oil, right? Oil. The black crude that bubbles up from the ground, right? Remember Jed Clampett shot his gun into the ground, came bubbling up, right? Right?
You and I are both old enough to remember that.
There you go, right? I love that shit. Now, that stuff, it's under your feet. It's under my feet. It's a national, it's equal to you and me. We're equal on that, right? We're both walking over this stuff. It's a natural resource, right? That belongs to our country. Now, but instead, certain guys, they had some money. They owned some slaves. They were able to get over to the New World and get to these spots and get claims on them and start digging up the ground there. And they got to it first. Okay. And now they control it. And they keep that $500 billion profit a year, man. Now, would you have a problem with us nationalizing the oil industry and that all the people of this country could share equally in that wealth and that we would all get a huge reduction in the price of gasoline? That would be a huge economic stimulus.
Again, sounds good in theory, but wouldn't happen. What you're advocating is putting the oil industry into the hands of government, which is thoroughly corrupt. And so what they would do, what government always does, Ed, is they always take their cut. And sometimes their cut is the whole thing. And so the prices wouldn't go down. The government would raise the prices, and it wouldn't treat everyone fairly. That's not what government does. That's the problem. Now, if what you're saying is, if a oil company or an oil exec is making, if it becomes a monopoly, so to speak, that's where I think the government can do good. The government can break up monopolies. If you remember the bells in the 80s with the AT&T, when they broke up that was a good thing. When you see big companies and mergers, the AT&T and DirecTV and all of these, internet companies are merging and airlines are merging. I think that's a terrible thing. I think that reduces and eliminates competition. It raises the prices. And what you're saying is those fat cats get fatter. I agree with that. But what the answer is not that the government controls the industry, but that the government does the right thing with respect to regulating it in terms of increased competition. When there's monopolies, the government should not approve mergers, because when mergers are approved, the company CEOs benefit and the government benefits. So there needs to be breakups of these monopolies as opposed to signing off on these mergers.
Okay. But if you
the solutions to what you're talking about.
But if you recall, my original question was about nationalizing the oil industry, and many countries do this. Belgium does this, and I understand. Listen, you can't say nothing works because the government's all criminals. Because a lot of countries got criminal governments, but Venezuela did it. The gasoline prices went down to 10 cents a gallon. Middle East countries, Kuwait, Libya, all did this and shared wealth amongst their people. And some of these countries, Kuwait, you drive up, the gasoline's free. You drive up, you can pull up your tank for free. Okay, so it can work. It does work. It's a national resource. It's not like something where I'm building something or you're building something. This comes out under my feet. They're drilling this right under my feet, and they're taking it and selling it back to me.
Well, if they own the land, and if they go through all of the jump through all the hoops and go through all the hard work of getting the equipment and employing the people, I mean, if anybody that has to make a payroll knows that work is not easy. And so if you own that property, but let's look at it this way: if I own this property and I take a risk and I drill for oil and I buy all the equipment and I go into debt on a bet that it's going to pay off, and I hire employees and I pay employees and I fight through and I make payroll, and then all of a sudden, I'm starting to get over the top here. I'm starting to make money. I'm starting to really succeed here. Why should I give that over to somebody else? Why should I? And so that the people of the country who had no stake in it, who had no involvement in it, why should they?
Because it belongs to you and it belongs to us. Well, why? Joe, how come you don't care about your own interest, man? That oil belongs to you just as much as it belongs to me. It's under our feet, man, and it belongs to you. And you need to stand up for your own rights. And we're not on an even playing field where you and I can go out and buy some land. They got all that land 400 years ago, man, because they came here, they owned slaves, they had money from the old world, from the old country that they inherited, and they had to jump on us, man. But the time is over. We can't allow them to get morbidly obese and hoard all the money, because the rest of us are suffering. You're suffering, Joe. Your kids are suffering. Your family's suffering. We got to stand up to these guys, man, and take back what's ours.
I'm not into that. I mean, what you're talking about is it sounds like almost anarchy.
No.
Is that what you're advocating?
I was once an anarchist. If I was an anarchist today, I'd tell you I was. I'm not an anarchist. I'm a socialist. You know?
I forget where we were here, but as far as that goes, I mean, yeah, I mean, I hear it where you're talking about these people have this land for years and they benefit from it, but everything that you're saying points to the government is so much more corrupt than the fat cats you talk about, and they have more power. They have more power because they can legislate. They can. They just do. They have more power, and they're very wealthy too.
Oh, okay. I understand. You have this fear of the government, and I can, because they're crooks. Okay, I understand. The government we have right now, these capitalists in office right now, are filthy crooks. There's no doubt about that. But how about we set up
and the socialists?
Why would we set up institutions? We set up like a nonprofit institution that would run the organization. They would be autonomous and they would run it for the people. That's possible, like United Way or something like that. These things, they exist, right? These big companies exist. How about, this?
Who would fund them?
We don't have to worry about funding because they already exist. Okay, we just have to nationalize them, take them over. We have to expropriate them.
Nationalize. That's the problem.
Right, but then the government could appoint an authority like the Port Authority in New York City. They run the Penn Station and all that stuff like that, and the Staten Island Ferry. They're not a for-profit operation. They're not siphoning money out. They're running the stuff. The post office. These things run. How about the military? The military is run by the government. It runs great. Are you kidding me? With the best military on the freaking planet. We have air superiority over the whole entire world. But nobody can touch us. So these things can work under government. Not everything gets stolen. Of course, a lot gets stolen. But how much better off would we be if only half was getting stolen? Right now, all of it's getting stolen. You know what I mean? Give us a little bit, man. Give us some crumbs, Joe.
Yeah. I just think we need to reduce the size of government.
So do I.
That's okay. Well, but if you nationalize these things, you're actually increasing it.
We can put them under a trust or an authority, or like we said, a port authority, one of those things. Joe, what else can we find in your book? What else do you want to tackle that's in your book that I can heckle you about here, mercifully? What else can we find in your book?
Well, we talked about it a little bit before the last break.
Yeah.
This whole Hillary Clinton investigation in the 2016 election, and Bernie supporters should be really hacked off about what happened. But the whole Hillary investigation before the election, followed by the attempt by the FBI and DOJ of the Obama administration to undermine Trump. I think this is the biggest political scandal in the history of this country that no one's talking about. Did you consider this, Ed? If you read the IG report that came out last week, Huma Abedin, who was Hillary Clinton's closest advisor, was mentioned 183 times in that report. But what's not mentioned in that report is that she's a Muslim Brotherhood spy. Now, how is it that this report could comb through all of this stuff and identify her as having potentially mishandled classified information? How she got a security clearance in the first place, I have no idea, but she mishandled classified information, and she's a spy. But that's not talked about.
Well,
so what happens?
Have you looked into? Okay.
Go ahead.
Have you looked into the history of the Muslim Brotherhood? They were created by MI6 created Muslim Brotherhood. It's totally infiltrated by the CIA. Turkey has a government that's a Muslim Brotherhood. The United States controls our intelligence agencies control Muslim Brotherhood. They're one of our guys.
Well, they were, and I think that and today, if you look at politicians, they for some reason defend the Brotherhood. But the Brotherhood was started after the fall of the Ottoman Empire in World War I, and it was the people, the Muslims that were forced out of Saudi Arabia ended up in Egypt, and that's where they founded the Brotherhood. And they had a goal that, after 100 years, that they'd re-implement the caliphate. Well, we're about 10 years away from that. But and you're right about Turkey. I think Turkey is on the brink of re-implementing, resurrecting the Ottoman Empire. And why the heck they're in NATO or we're in NATO, I have no idea why, because they should be considered an enemy of this country. But all of that to say, my main point was this whole investigation. Look at how many people have left the FBI or been fired from the FBI in the last several months. We're witnessing, as I said, I believe it's the biggest political scandal in the history of this country.
Right.
Because what we had an FBI and DOJ attempt to undermine the president of the United States and then throw him out of office. And I think regardless of where you come down on Trump, I think that is a huge, huge scandal.
And you think that's because of those text messages where they say that we're going to get Trump and we don't want him to be elected and we don't like Trump and all that kind of stuff?
I think those are signs. But yes, this was all about exonerating Hillary and then undermining Trump. And I think if you read the IG report, you can't come to any other conclusion on the Hillary investigation. They threw that investigation. There is no doubt about it. So the same people that were throwing the Hillary investigation for obvious reasons. I mean, the guy in the text messages, he was the lead investigator in that. So don't cut that one. Don't sell that one short. He was the lead investigator in the Hillary matter investigation. But
don't you think that every single FBI agent that's investigating a case says horrible things about the people they're investigating? They hate them?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. You don't know anything about me, okay? But I was involved. I'm from New York City. I was a private investigator back in New York City. I was on the Pizza Connection case and the commission case, and Rudy Giuliani was the prosecutor on those cases, okay? And then later on, when Rudy was running for Bay Area, I was friends with Rudy. I liked Rudy. We had no problems. We got on very good. So I'm very familiar with all that kind of stuff, that whole kind of a Justice Department stuff. And also, too, I was the private investigator that did the phones in Wienergate. When Wienergate first came out, and that woman, Maria, here in Las Vegas, the blackjack dealer was being doing texting back and forth with Wiener. I did those phones. I'm the one that recovered those text messages. So I'm very familiar with all this.
Well, you're talking about the one that Breitbart exposed? I
don't remember Breitbart being involved in that, but my memory's not that good right now. I don't think the woman Maria here in Vegas. Which one did Breitbart expose?
He was the one who first posted the photo of Weiner that he inadvertently.
Oh no, that was something different. This is the one the text messages going back with the blackjack dealer. Hey, by the way, here's something a lot of people don't know. You might find interesting. The same agent, Gina Rodriguez, who was the agent who was behind that whole Wienergate thing, and Sydney Leathers, she was agent. She's the same. She was the original agent for Stormy Daniels.
Who was
Gina Rodriguez, who was my client. She was the agent who was for the woman Maria here in Vegas, who was selling her text messages and stuff like that about Wienergate. She was also the agent working with Keith Davidson when they came up with the whole deal with the Stormy Daniels. The first payoff, the $130,000. So the same people who took down Weiner are the same people who took down Trump.
Well, who took down Trump? You're talking about okay. So what does that mean?
Well, I'm just saying a lot of people try and say that this is politically motivated. Stormy Daniels is part of this deep state plan to take down Trump and all that stuff like that. And I believe she's successfully taken down Trump because now we have Michael Cohen is about to testify against Trump. And he's about to make a deal right now. We have the president's attorney, his office is being raided and stuff like that. We have Roger Stone just came in. And what about, you say there's no Russian collusion? You think there's no Russian collusion?
There's more collusion between the Hillary campaign and Russia through Christopher Steele than there was ever anything with Trump. I don't see it. I mean, if you're going to say that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, you cannot discount the fact that the DNC and Hillary paid for the Fusion GPS Steele dossier that involved Steele communicating with Russians and putting unverified information in that dossier and then giving it back to the FBI. Who then lied to a FISA court. So that's where the collusion is.
Okay,
it's the deep state, the FBI, the DOJ, Christopher Steele, British intelligence, and who knows what Russians. That's where the collusion is.
Okay, well, what part of the Steele dossier is unverified?
Well, let's talk about the hookers in the hotel.
Okay, there's 4 witnesses. They don't know each other. And 2 of them are hotel workers. What's unverified about that? You know what I'm saying, man?
So where is this information? How come this hasn't come out? How come this hasn't been presented?
It's out. Oh no, it's out. There was a great article on this. I forget the woman's name right now. I can get it back to you. But this is all out. And where did you're saying that Christopher Steele lied?
What's that?
You're saying that Christopher Steele lied to get the FISA warrant?
Yes. No, not Christopher Steele for the FISA warrant. They did not notify the court that this was all funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Okay, well, it was originally
tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth when you present a FISA warrant.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. What do you call it? It was originally funded by the Never Trumpers, correct?
What was
the Steele dossier? The first people to hire Steele were
the Washington Free Beacon hired Fusion GPS to do Oppo research. But once Trump secured the nomination, and that did not involve Christopher Steele, it did not involve any dossier. And once the Trump had the nomination, they gave it up. And then the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC hired Fusion GPS separately, and then did an entirely different operation.
Okay, and then Steele noticed some crimes going on with Carter Page visiting with these Rosneft oligarchs and stuff like that, and he reported that to the FBI, which is the correct thing to do, no?
There wasn't what was going on. They had spies into this thing. I mean, they had this Halper guy.
Right. Well, that's it.
They people trying to entrap these guys.
Okay, wait. Halper's a different story. Let's stick with Steele for a second, because there's nothing unethical about that. Okay, I've been involved in investigations where a client hires me, and by the way, every single time the client hires me, they hate the person that I'm investigating. So if Hillary Clinton hired me and she hates Donald Trump, there's nothing unusual about that. That's every single time. So just because your client is running against or hates the person you're investigating doesn't mean anything. That's how just life is. And there's been many, many times where during the course of my investigation, I run across criminal activity, and I'll call the cops and I'll try and sell them that information. I'll offer to sell them my report. There's nothing unusual or unethical about that either. In fact, you're supposed to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I know.
If you then present it to the FBI, who creates a FISA application,
right,
and does not divulge the source of that research, the source of that information, it's not acting honestly.
I believe that the FBI did say that it was an opposition candidate, okay, which would have been obvious at the time. But even still, if I don't want to tell the FBI who my client is, I don't tell them who my client is. You don't have to.
Well, you don't have to tell me who your client is, but you could say this was funded by a client of the opposition party.
You don't have to.
That was not done.
But you don't have to. That's a total. See, yeah, I know where you're going, man, because you hear Rush Limbaugh and Hannity going over this stuff, but in real life, that's just not a big deal. You know, you investigate a case your client always hates, and by the way, the FBI is always talking crap about the people they're investigating. That goes on galore. They make all kinds of threats. Clients come in to me, they tell me I was just arrested by the FBI. They're threatening to arrest my mother on trumped up charges. What can we do about that? I'm worried about my mother. This is what goes on. You think that Trump should get like a coast? He should coast his investigation? Should go get away with it? Of course not. He's subject to the same. He's not above the law. We all have the same. Got to deal with the FBI. They suck for everyone.
You know, it should be interesting to you that Hillary Clinton completely undermined the Bernie Sanders campaign.
No, of course she did. I'm no fan of Hillary Clinton. What makes it? What, you're going to put me in bed with Hillary Clinton? You want to hear the story?
No, the thing is, you seem to like the Bernie Sanders model. She undermined his campaign, completely prevented him from becoming a nominee for the Democratic Party.
No, I know. We just had a couple of weeks ago.
Wasn't there any consequences for her?
Oh, because she's a very powerful woman. You know, she gets away with it. Listen. And they're still doing stuff. Listen, Hillary and Biden, they just sabotaged another one of our clients here in Nevada. I had people here, you know, who were involved in the credentials committee and were on the platform committee and stuff like that. Yeah, well, I've had these people on the show. By the way, you want to know something else? I had the Trump campaign contact me for opposition research, okay, to send them information about one of my guests. They wanted contact information on one of my guests. I said, listen, here's a list of all my anti-Hillary shows about the Clinton Foundation, all this stuff. A list of shows about Haiti, what they did in Haiti, all the Clinton crimes, the Clinton crime family. I located all of the Clinton mistresses, man, all of them. All those women that were there at the debate that day, I know all of them. I'm friends with every one of those women. I had them all on the show.
Yeah.
When I turned over my shows, okay, to them, and Rudy Giuliani knows me. He knows my name for sure. Every speech after that, Trump's going down the list of all my stuff. Okay, so you know you're not gonna catch me, man. What do you call it? Defending Clintons. You know, come on.
I'm not saying you're defending Clinton. I'm saying you should be outraged at Clinton.
Of course I am.
Bernie.
Oh no, of course. Well, not just for what she did to Bernie, what to the people of Haiti. They robbed Haiti blind. They robbed money from earthquake victims, people buried under rocks, and they stole their money. Okay, you can't get more evil than that, man. So
there you go.
Yeah. So don't. Yeah. But I'm going to call Trump the same thing, man. Trump is involved in all kinds of crimes as well. Trump University, all his sleazy activities with the porn stars and stuff, and all their collusion with the Russians, man. Roger Stone just came out. Oh, gee whiz. I just met with a Russian. I forgot to tell you about it. He wanted $2 million for dirt on Hillary, and I forgot. Okay. Did you read that 28-page report on that Greenberg guy that offered him the $2 million?
No.
It's great. You're going to love it. Okay. You can find it on Stone's website, with the Stone Fact or Stone Cold Facts, something like that. And, Stone did a big investigation. He spent a lot of money on that thing. It's 28 pages long, dug up a lot of dirt. He was talking to Russians too, because he got information on this guy. And, it's
not talking to anybody. You can talk to anybody.
Correct. Yeah. But the thing is, once again, you know, if you got a Russian criminal, and Trump is surrounded by these Russian criminals, man, Felix Sater, all these guys, you think Trump is squeaky clean on all his activity with these Russians?
Nobody's perfect.
Okay, so then, and then what about the obstruction of justice, firing Comey and all that kind of stuff? You're fine with all that?
He fired Comey because his deputy attorney general recommended that he do it.
But then he went on TV and said, I fired him because of the Russia. And then he went, and when he told the Russians, he met with Russians in his office the next day and gave them secrets too. He gave them Israeli secrets. He meets with the Russians. He said, oh, I just fired that Comey because he was interfering in our stuff. He's a nut. I got rid of him. Don't worry. You don't think he's going to hit the jackpot on all that?
Everything that came out in this IG report justified the firing of Comey. He was completely justified in firing James Comey.
Not if his motivation was firing him due to the Russian investigation. That's an obstruction of justice, and that was the charge against Nixon.
Yeah. I don't see it. Sorry, Ed, I don't see it.
No, I know you don't. Because the thing is, man, I watch a lot of prosecutions, man. I watch a lot of, I see the way the Department of Justice works, the FBI works. This guy's in the jackpot. He's going down on all these charges, man. They got the noose around his neck. And, you know, I'm sorry. I know you like the guy, but he doesn't have a chance in all this. This is a good time to take a commercial break, but I will give you another last word, okay, before we take a break. If you'd like to do that, please.
I guess we fundamentally disagree on that.
Yeah.
If there's anybody that needs to go down, it's Hillary, and what she did. What she did was beyond criminal, and the establishment and the DOJ and the FBI, the guys at the top. I mean, we're seeing resignations, we're seeing demotions, we're seeing firings. I think that's very telling. That says there's a lot of smoke.
I would love to see the Clintons go down. You know, unfortunately, I don't think in our lifetime we will see it because they just.
On that, you may be right.
Yeah, because on their way up, they placed too many people in the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's offices, all these places. They know. See, Clinton started out, man, as an Attorney General, you know, in Arkansas when he was running that whole Mena, Arkansas coke deals, you know. So he knows how to.
Bush and North too. Yep.
Well, I'm sorry.
It was with HW and Oliver North too.
That's right, man. That's right. Hey, you got to look at some of my shows, man, because I had on the mother, the boys in the tracks. Her lawyers, Lynn Ives, and I had her. I know the story. Oh yeah, I had her. Well, you got to listen to the show, man, because I had her lawyer on. They're filing these Freedom of Information Act requests in a lawsuit, and he lays out in that lawsuit the whole Mena, Arkansas thing. I've never seen it laid out. So, and I've read all the books and stuff, man. I had a bunch of shows about it. You know, he lays that case out, man, step by step. Did a great job. We're here with Joe Sixpack, who's a lot more than his book here. Socialism Sucks. Your money from your pocket. But Joe knows a lot of stuff, man. He knows all about Mena, Arkansas. He's talking about right now, and the Comey investigation, the Mueller investigation. Facebook is Real Joe Sixpack. And at Real Joe Sixpack on Twitter. The book is coming out in a couple of months. It's written by Kevin Kenny. And now a word from our sponsors.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Hey you, podcast listener. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. Take the blue pill. You wake up in your bed and go back to listening to mundane podcasts that won't challenge your religious beliefs and your so-called truths about reality, the universe, and consciousness. Take the red pill. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast, hosted by Mark Anthony Peterson, and he will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Event Horizon takes a walk into the paranormal with a splash of conspiracy. It's the podcast that would be born if David Icke and the X-Files had a baby. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast by Mark Anthony Peterson on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Stitcher, or any of your other favorite podcast platforms. Remember, all we are offering is the truth, nothing more.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with Todd Bauman, who goes by the name Joe Sixpack. His writing partner is Kevin Kenny. The book is called Socialism Sucks, Your Money from Your Pocket. You can find him at Facebook at Real Joe Sixpack and RealJoeSixpack.com. Now, Joe, in the book, are you going to have any of this stuff about the Mueller investigation?
No, the book was completed before that really kicked into high gear.
Joe, I want to thank you, man, for giving me the extra half hour. And thank you, too, man, for being a good sport and letting me heckle you here, good-natured heckling. Okay, man, I really... Yeah, and I got to tell you, too, my audience buys books, and they're going to see you're a genuine guy, too, man. It's really good when you make a connection with the audience like you did, so you're going to do good with this. But we are out of time, my friend. What do you want to leave us with?
Socialism sucks, man.
I love you, man. Hey, Joe, the book's not coming out for a couple of months, but if you want to come back, man, when the book comes out, we'll put you back on the air, right?
Awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Good night.
All right. Back at you. Bye-bye.
Okay, there you had Todd Bauman. Okay, listen, I liked him. Okay, the book is Socialism Sucks. Okay, and I'm going to promote his book. The guy's a cool guy, and I think his heart's in the right place, man. I really do, and I think and he knows his stuff too. He knows about Mina. He knows about Obama being a CIA. A lot of guys will go on and on. So, okay, coming up after this, I interviewed a couple of homeless guys who lived right next door to the pedo camp with the rape trees and all that kind of stuff. I located them. People were laughing at me, by the way, the other night when I was on Pierce Redmond. And I got all these emails telling me, Ed says he's talking to the homeless people. Oh, Ed says he knows everybody. Oh, Ed says, yeah, right. Well, the joke's on you. Okay, because I got him on the show, guys. Okay, I located the homeless couple who lived, and you listen to that story, man. These guys aren't making this up. And they know the people who built the camp. They know the guy, it was a transvestite. They know another guy who lived there. They were there before it was built. They were there after it was built. They talked to the cops. They talked to this guy, Lewis, and stuff. Okay, this is first-hand information. They never saw Soros down there. They never saw Hillary down there. Okay, all right, okay. And they never saw any children there. And it's very genuine folks, man. Okay, so that's coming up next after this. So thank you so much, and thank you again, Todd Bauman, Joe Sixpack, Real Joe Sixpack at Facebook, and at Real Joe Sixpack on Twitter. Thank you so much, Joe. Good luck with the book, my friend. Okay, and I'm going to write a book called Capitalism Sucks, and put it right next to his book there. Let's see, what else? I have on the line a couple of folks, Cowboy and Yvonne, and they lived at a camp themselves that was like 50 feet away from this big famous camp. Everybody's talking about this pedo camp that the veterans on patrol have discovered and put all over YouTube. So Cowboy and Yvonne, are you there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So give us an idea now. How did you wind up down there at this camp?
Well, I ended up getting hurt as a merchant marine and everything through the Coast Guard and everything, and made me where I couldn't work. And I'm Social Security, and I don't make that much money to be able to rent a place. So I ended up staying in the desert for 20-something years. Wow. Until my lawyer lady friend gave me an RV so I could get out of the desert, and that's what we live in now.
Now, where you guys living now? You still in Tucson?
Do what now?
You still live down there in Tucson?
Yes, we do.
Okay, but now, thank God, you're indoors. You got an RV at least, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, that's amazing. And here you are, you get injured and you get Social Security, but it's not enough to live on. You can't even live like in a decent indoors and take care of yourself. So what do you get? How much do they give you?
I get about $700 a month.
Yeah, so no one can live on that, right? It's disgraceful. Yeah. Okay, so you wound up down there. Now, when you were living down, you had your own camp that was nearby this other camp that's become famous, right?
Yes, I lived there, and I know everybody that ever lived in that camp that's in question that you're speaking of.
Okay. Did you watch them actually construct this camp, and you watched them build it?
Off and on. I think the biggest project that ever went on over there was a friend of ours named Thomas that's a transsexual and lived in the plastic tube that they were saying that where children were being held inside.
They say there was like a septic tank that was, I guess, cleaned out and then buried underground?
Yes, it was a septic and everything. And Thomas went ahead and piled a whole bunch of debris on top of it to, so that it wouldn't stick out like a sore eye and nobody would come in and raid and steal his personal belongings.
Now, but I've been out in the desert. I was just telling your wife there that I live in Nevada. Now, wouldn't it be hotter inside a plastic container like that in the ground, or is it cooler?
It's cooler because it's under shade and everything, and then it's also white.
Okay.
And with everything that was put on top of it, it stayed completely in the shade.
Something like that. Thomas didn't stay there during the day. He stayed there at night.
Okay, that makes sense too.
You go to the library or something during the day.
Okay, right. Because when you don't have a home, you go to the library and stuff like that. You go to the mall, public places where they have air conditioning, right, and a bathroom you can use. You go to the rec center, right? So,
and then also before that, there was a man named Alan. That's a homosexual friend of ours that lived also at that camp. And then after that, we have another friend called Mad Max, which right now they're in Denver. They're going to be back here after a little bit, but they lived in that camp.
He's the one that set up all the straps and stuff to actually hang tarps and stuff in that camp.
Right. Now,
the straps were literally used to hold food up off the ground so the javelinas wouldn't tear into your groceries.
Right. Now, I've been to your Facebook page, and I've seen how you have your camp set up. Things are like tied up. It's very nice and neat. It's very, very well kept. You got your kitchen there. You got your rec area, all that kind of stuff. And you got things off the ground so that the animals don't come and critters don't come and get in your food and stuff. The bugs and things, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct. The javelinas, they tear into anything. Yeah. I mean, if they can get to it, they'll get in it somehow.
Now, I spent a lot of time in Tucson myself, and javelinas are like these wild pigs with real bristles on them. They got like a real hard, right? And they're nothing to fool around with, man.
That's right.
They're nothing to fool around with, man. You see one coming.
If you went down to the camp that we stayed at under that big tree and everything, when we left and everything and gave it to some friends so that they'd have a place safe to lay down and all that, it was clean. When we went back and saw it as how they left that camp, it was trashed out like BFI backed up and dumped all the garbage in one spot.
BFI? Who's that?
That's garbage pickup.
Okay.
Waste management.
Okay, and you're saying too, by the way, you're saying that these things that people are calling the rape tree with these straps that allegedly were used to rape children from were actually used to hang up to keep things off the ground. Is that to clarify that, right?
Keep the food
yes,
off the ground.
that is correct. I used Alex hung up on ropes to keep it off the ground, but they were using straps and different things to tie up, and then some of them had poles go through them straps to put a tarp over for when it rained.
Gotcha. Now, have you ever seen little kids there or anything like any children whatsoever?
Never saw any children through there. The only teenagers that I have saw were up there by QT. There's a tunnel that goes under the highway to the neighborhood there, and the kids would go down there and write their graffiti and gang signs and all that under there, and smoking dope or whatever they wanted, but they were never up by that camp. The only time I ever seen them,
even knew about that.
The only time I ever seen them up that way was further down from the cement plant. Alan had a camp over there, and they went over there and set his camp on fire. That's the only time I've seen them go that far.
And then we had to call the police so they could come out and take care of the fire.
Okay, so
we had everybody out there that day.
All right, then the police. Okay, so then the police are aware of this camp then before all this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They know all of it.
I am good standing with the police. If you look on the Facebook, you'll see Officer Robert holding a rope on a horse that we rescued that got lost out there in the desert. It looked like it got hit by a car a couple of times, and I am good. I have a good report with all the police officers over in that area and everything.
You can even talk to the business owners in that area. You can't
overtalk on me like that now. So then So anyway, the police know me real good, and they even stated after they got rid of Lewis and everything that I was welcome to go back down there and stay in that camp.
Okay.
In the wash.
And what about the cement plant people? No, before we get into all that, and there was a swing there. They said, "Oh, this is a swing," and they probably had these swing to keep the children occupied between the raping sessions. What do you make of that swing?
I don't know. This guy, I think that he takes something and then builds it into a story,
right,
and everything, and then exaggerates as he goes, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
We talked to other reporters and stuff, and they think he was just trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
They just thought it was something and ran with it.
Well, one report,
so ridiculous.
One recording that we heard was a reporter calling CMAX,
right,
and he said they were affiliated with the Clintons and the Obama people and donating a lot of money to them. And what I believe is that Premier Rock right there in front of the cement plant there, I think they got him to go down there and see who all was living down there and everything, because they wanted them off the property. And I think that's how this thing all got started.
Wait a second. You're saying that you think the C-Max company hired Arthur Lewis, or Lewis Arthur?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I said that that's owned also by Pioneer, what is it? Pioneer Rock and everything.
Yeah.
And that's part of C-Max and everything. And I did hear a recording with another reporter talking to their headquarters for C-Max. And he's the one who told us that they were affiliated with the Obama
right,
and the Clintons' donations. And that's what I think happened. They went with him and everything and wanted to know who all was camping back there.
Gotcha.
We also called the veterans on patrol, and they said that they were not connected to this guy at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, though, now, because I've seen both your Facebook pages, and you guys are very active Trump fans. You're fans of Donald Trump, the president, right?
Well, I am active and support anybody that's going to put my country first. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. That doesn't matter. What I judge a person on is what is he doing for the country? What is he doing to, for jobs, people that are poor and everything? Is he going to get the economy kicked off and get it running again? And then how he articulates his words and how he handles himself as an individual.
Well, and hopefully he'll increase the Social Security benefits for people that are there out in the street there suffering, right?
I agree with that. It's so sad that the cost of living is so high and everything, that they don't take better care of us,
Yeah.
I'm in my 60s.
He's as well as I am.
And I have a disability and everything. I can only walk so far, and I have to stop.
I got you.
I can only walk so far, about where I'm at right now to my gate, and I got to stop.
So you guys living down there, you never saw Hillary Clinton or George Soros coming by to rape little children or anything?
No. I'm sure if you asked Lewis, he probably said that they're on their trail. They're chasing them.
That's right. They're hot on the trail. That's right. They're hot on the trail. Now, did you know this guy Lewis before all this?
Yes, they came before. They tried to calm down through there in the wash and through the camp and everything. And there's a rule out here that you yell, "Hey, incoming!" Anybody in the camp? Just like if you're living up in the mountains, you don't go up to somebody's cabin. You yell, "Hey, anybody in the cabin?"
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You announce yourself. Well, they wouldn't do that, and then I told them to stop, and they didn't want to stop. I had to get up and go out there and tell them, "Look, man, this is my place where I'm living and everything. You're not welcome here. You don't, just come barging in on somebody."
No, absolutely. I when I was a teenager in New York City, I used to live in squatter apartments. We used to squat in these abandoned buildings and stuff like that as a teenager. So I know what you're talking about. And you don't walk into another man's camp or another man's squat. Who knows coming in? It's very defensive in that kind of situation. So it's right?
That's true.
Yeah. So now, so Lewis is disrespectful in this kind of way that he just comes walking into people's camp.
Right. It was very disrespectful.
Yeah.
And then when you try to tell them, I had to literally, get forceful and say, "Look, you need to go on, keep going."
With the gift card.
And then they want to give us a gift card, if they could come in and interview us and talk with us. I told them I didn't need their gift card. that, you know, if they're going to be disrespectful like that, then they need to go on, you know.
Well, did anybody?
The police officers, Tucson Police Department, and everything. Even when they come down, they'll say, "Hey, incoming!" It's, you know, Tucson Police Department or something, you know.
They know that.
And then, you know, they'll stop at the edge, you know, and they won't even come in unless you say, "Well, come on in," you know.
No, absolutely. You wouldn't walk into someone's home. So if someone's living, you know, outside, you're not going to walk into their camp. That's very disrespectful. Now, did Lewis ever try and come to? Did anybody, any of the local people besides yourself, try and tell Lewis, "Hey, man, we know the people who live in this camp. It's not a pedo camp, and these aren't rape trees." Did anybody try and tell him that?
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
And we got called a troll over.
We even made a video and put it on. And then we also talked to everybody. And then, like I said, I know everybody and anybody that lives around through there, all the way to the Pima Community College, all the way to the casino. I know all the homeless people. I have the phone numbers to everybody that's ever lived back there in that camp or anything. We always talk. And, yeah, he was told back and forth, "Look, you're fabricating something. You're lying because we know Cowboy and everything." The police even told him they knew me and that I was no trouble to nobody and stuff like this. Even the rancher told him that you know, that Cowboy's a old man and he's been there forever and he don't bother nobody.
And also, that rancher is a very nice man. He's come down before and made sure we had plenty of water. You know, like if it got hot, like it did today, he would have came down there and checked to make sure we have water, that we're okay.
Did you know that Lewis got arrested for and handcuffed and hauled off his property not long ago? About what, a week?
Saturday.
Yeah, about a week ago. Did you know that?
Yeah, I've been following this. I've been following his whole. He's been arrested many times. He does a lot of stunts. He climbs up on flagpoles and gets himself arrested and stuff.
Yeah, about the flagpole. Yeah,
He went up there to.
You gotta admit, he needs to go to the VA and get on some meds to control his illusions.
Well, I think it's widely reported.
It's like he's schizophrenic.
Really? And what about, did you notice any drug use with this group, the Veterans on Patrol? Maybe they're using drugs or anything?
No, I didn't notice anything.
Now, the police came out and investigated. Did you talk to the police?
Yes, I did.
And what did the police say to you?
Oh, they knew it was a joke.
They just, I can't remember exactly what it was. They said they knew that, you know, he was fabricating it and making things up and everything. And, you know, they talked to us for a little while and everything. And I told them, I said, well, you know, all you got to do is just use good common sense. And you can see this man is wanting to make a name for himself. And I think he wants to put himself in the limelight and everything like a movie star or something.
Todd. His name is Todd. And his fax number is 1611.
1611, Officer Todd. Yeah.
All right, great. That's good. 1611, Officer Todd. Now, how many cops came out, though, to investigate this? Did they take pictures and videos and measure stuff? You know how you see cops do?
I wasn't there when they were up there at the cement plant doing all that. I just moved out of there.
Right.
And, you know,
we moved out in April.
Yeah, in April I moved out of there. But I go back down there because I have friends, like I said, all over down through there. But no, I know that the officer that we talked to, Todd, he told us that they had investigators down there and that this Lewis was burning up, you know, their time and the taxpayers' money and everything on this, but they have to investigate it and everything, you know, once it comes through their office.
And are you familiar with there was another report, too, that Lewis and his buddies, they found a skull out in the desert. Now, but that's not...
That wasn't even near...
That was 40 miles away from that area.
Right. Okay. Yeah, right. That's another important thing people need to know. Because I've been involved in local stories. I told you I'm here in Nevada. And when we have like the Bundy Ranch incident, people think it's near Red Rock. They think it's near Prim. You know, they think it's near, you know, when you live here, you got to know, no, that's 40 miles away, man. You know? Yeah. But people watching on.
I could understand that, you know, but, you know, I don't know. I think the dude has issues myself personally. I think he needs help.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying that skull belonged to a kid, and then I read the report on it. It wasn't found anywhere near there. And it belonged to a man in his 30s, maybe older.
I don't remember who they said it belonged to.
Yeah, no, there's been.
I don't remember that part.
Police took it from him.
Yeah, there's been reports that.
I know they said they were doing forensics on it. I know I remember that part of it.
Yeah, there was reports that it belonged to an adult, and then there was also reports too that it was placed there. That it was placed. It wasn't even indigenous to that area. Someone placed it there. Okay. So, and is there anything else you want to tell me about your situation down there? Any information you know that I haven't asked you?
Well, no, I'm just thankful that, there's good people out here, that help people out. And, the homeless people I know and all that, they're not rapists and all that and child molesters and stuff like that. And I think that, what he said put a black eye on the homeless that are down through that area right there.
Yeah, that's true. It must make it even harder, right? If you're going to accuse these people, make these allegations.
I feel like the homeless people that are in that area are like my estranged family.
Right.
We're all family. We, if you go on my Facebook, you can see our Thanksgivings together.
Oh.
Everybody gets together and everybody brings something, and then we have turkey and duck and ham and.
Also, on that same issue and everything, because of that incident that he pulled, the police have cracked down on all the homeless all around through there. If they are caught panhandling in the media and all that, they're writing them tickets and stuff like that. They crack down real hard because of what this man did. They would turn their head and go on, and not bother nobody. But now, because of Lewis, it made it real hard on everybody.
Now, what about when he was calling out for reinforcements and saying, hey, come out, all across the country, come out. Did people come out there to investigate themselves, and what were their conclusions?
Yes.
We talked to a man in Montana, and he saw that.
We talked to a guy out of Montana that's a radio host and also does a website.
Right.
And everything. And like I told him, he talked to me. I gave him Thomas's number because he wanted to talk to Thomas because Thomas, the baby dolls that you saw down there, Thomas would get the baby dolls and everything and then buy material and everything and make little outfits and use them as a mannequin. And then he would turn around and make women's clothes for himself to match the mannequins. That's where the baby dolls came in at. I told you Thomas is a transsexual, real sweet person. I don't want nobody to think bad about Thomas. And but Thomas would take these little baby dolls. He made a video of it too, and he said, "See this baby doll?" And he was trying to explain that he makes women's clothes and he dresses up in drag.
So he made that video after the allegations, or this is a video made previous? After.
Why it was going on.
Why everything was going on, he made that.
Now, what about Thomas?
Like I said, off the air, if you want phone numbers to everybody, I have them. I have no problem giving them to you. I've done talk to everybody. They said they'd be more than willing to talk to whoever.
Okay, that's good. Now what about Thomas? Did Thomas ever talk to Lewis and say, hey, man, I live there. Those are my dolls. Leave me alone?
No, Thomas.
No, he posted it on
Thomas
page.
Posted it on the internet.
They kind of just brush you off. So Lewis, the people involved with Lewis and all that, just brushed us off. Yeah. Said that we didn't know what we were talking about. They called me a troll.
And then they blocked me from answering any of their accusations because I would go back on and say, now, this is what happened, and what you're saying didn't happen, and I know I have proof of it because I've been there and lived there.
So it's impossible for Lewis and his crew and his buddies to not be aware of you and Faith and Thomas and all these people and the people who live there and what your conclusions are.
That's exactly right. Okay. And like I said, I believe that he got with Pioneer up there in the front by QT and everything, and they wanted him to go in there and hunt and find out where all the camps were and everything. And then when he went off in his la-la world of make-believe, they got too much heat from it. So CMAX, after the reporter talked to them, got involved in it, and they had him escorted off that property. And then after that, that's when he went to the ranch and trespassed there and got arrested.
The neat thing is the cops went and let them search our camp and said, no, I know them people, they don't do that. Yeah. And that's state property. They couldn't even come on that property.
Yeah, the police told Lewis and everything that they knew me real good and everything, and that they knew that, that I don't do no drugs. I've never done drugs. I don't do drugs, and I have kids. They're grown. And I feel like this, a little baby is, somebody has to stand up and defend them. They can't defend themselves. If I'd have saw something like that going on, I'd have had the police down there and I'd have put a stop to it myself.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, is Lewis still hanging around down there? Or is he gone?
I think they kicked him out.
I know that he got arrested and everything, and then since he got arrested, I haven't heard anything.
The guy that owns the concrete plant has kicked him off the property. He's not allowed to go there, or he'll get arrested again for criminal trespass.
Okay. And how many people did he have with him in his group?
Oh, God.
4 or 5.
Only 4 or 5. Okay.
But then he also said he had some trackers and everything. I said, well, if them guys are trackers, I said, I track better than any of them. I've been out in this desert so long, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could track anybody. I said, why didn't he find, he didn't even bring up Allen's camp, the one that I told you that got burnt down.
Right. Oh,
He didn't even bring that one up.
So he didn't even know about that other camp?
No, I don't believe he even knows it's there.
Oh, brother. Okay, guys, listen, thank you so much. So is there anything else you want to tell us that I haven't asked you?
Yeah, we could use some prayers.
Yeah.
Got to send us some help. I got an RV that I need to get fixed so that it'll run. I can use some prayers. That's about it.
Well, what about, is there any way for people, if they want to make a donation? A lot of people listen to the show, and I know they're very sympathetic. You know, we do a lot of shows on homeless and people in trouble and stuff like that. Any way to send a donation to you?
Oh, for real, that'd be sweet. All right, it's 3777 cowboy@gmail.com. Or I can give you my address.
I don't know.
My address.
No. Let's not do that.
It's 7281 North Van Ark Road, number 1, Tucson, Arizona, 85743.
Okay, but if they want to send you PayPal, you got PayPal?
Do I got PayPal? No, I don't have a PayPal.
Okay, so if you want to email Cowboy and Faith here, it's 3777cowboy@gmail.com.
Correct.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, and if I can help you with any of it and you want to talk to everybody else, I'll be glad to, give you every helping hand I can, okay?
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll follow up on this. We'll talk to Thomas, too, after this, but we'll see. I think we got enough, though, but thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Good night. Okay, well, there you go. Here's the story, okay? By the way, I just want to throw out another thing here, too. I did an interview with Paris Redmond the other day, and I said, I'm in contact with some of those homeless people down there in that camp who live down there. And I got all these messages saying, oh, Ed Opperman, he's so full of it. He knows the homeless people down there. Yeah, I know the homeless people down there. Okay, I found them. Okay. So how's that, guys? All right. Anyway, so this is the whole story about the oh my goodness, the pedo camp and the rape tree and all this stuff down there in Tucson that made it all the rage. Everybody was sharing the links that this gentleman here, Lewis Arthur, who goes by many, many different names, and he runs an organization called Veterans on Patrol. He turns out he's not actually a veteran, but he talks the veteran lingo. People love to talk at the perimeter, all that kind of stuff. They love, they love to talk, His father's a veteran, his brother's a veteran, but he's not. But he dresses like a veteran, and he dresses in, military camp lingo and army boots and stuff. Anyway, and he claimed that they were down there trying to find the homeless so they could help them get veteran homeless people so they can help them get their veterans benefits. And there's some allegations that he even gets his name on there. He becomes the manager of their veterans benefits after because if you're homeless and you're not competent, you need someone to manage your benefits for you. And he wrangles his way into that. And he discovers this camp, and there was a septic tank that was half buried into the ground. And he says, well, this must be a pedo camp, and that's where they were keeping the kids hostage. I forgot to ask him if there's any MS-13 in the neighborhood, too. I should have got, darn. But they seem cool. I'll send them a little email, and I'll do an update for you on Friday night. So anyway, so there we had Cowboy and Faith. I have their full names. I have their addresses. I've checked this out, guys. I've seen their Facebook pages. They're Trump supporters. They don't know Soros. They don't know Hillary. Okay. Hillary was never down there, and Soros was never down there. And so I think we got to the bottom of this case, don't you? All right, guys. Good night. We'll be back.